It was the first week of summer when I returned early from a 2-week business trip, looking forward to a quiet retreat at my lakeside cabin. The sun shimmered on the water, birds called overhead, and everything seemed perfect until I noticed Karen, the HOA president, frantically trying to block the driveway. She was on the phone, waving her arms, clearly distressed. I stepped out of my truck, carrying a small bag of supplies, and called out, "Karen, what's going on?" She didn't turn. Instead, she shouted, "You can't be here. This property is under HOA regulations, and your presence is a violation." I raised an eyebrow. "Karen, this is my property. My name is on the deed, and the county confirms ownership. Your HOA has no authority here." Karen waved her hands and continued pacing, muttering into the phone. I soon realized she had called 911, claiming some imaginary violation, insisting that someone needed to enforce HOA rules immediately. From the tone of her voice, it was clear she was panicking because she thought she could control the situation from her end. I stepped closer to my cabin, calm but deliberate. "Karen, I am legally allowed to be here. You are trespassing on private property if you continue to block my access." At that moment, she tried to insist she could enforce restrictions herself, claiming the HOA had rights to limit my use of the cabin. I shook my head, pulling out my phone to show her the official property survey and deed. "Here," I said, "everything is documented. Your HOA cannot override this. Any attempt to stop me is illegal." Karen froze as she examined the documents, but her face remained stubborn. That's when I noticed something even more troubling. She had been secretly listing my lakeside cabin online, trying to rent it out or claim it as HOA property. Couldn't let that stand. I immediately logged into the listing platform and reported the property as being fraudulently listed. Within minutes, the listing was flagged, suspended, and removed. Karen's composure cracked completely. Her panic turned into a mixture of rage and disbelief. She realized she had not only failed to assert authority over my cabin, but had also been caught in an illegal act of misrepresentation. By then, a few neighbors had gathered, curious about the commotion. They watched as Karen attempted to argue, but her evidence-free claims fell flat. I calmly explained my ownership, showed the legal documentation, and detailed how her actions, blocking the driveway and listing my property, were illegal. I then issued a formal verbal warning. Any future attempt by Karen or the HOA to interfere with my property would result in immediate legal action, including reporting her for trespassing, harassment, and fraudulent activity. She turned and stormed off, muttering threats that no one took seriously. The rest of the day was spent securing the property and enjoying the lake in peace. I installed updated locks on the cabin and reinforced signs marking it as private property. Over the next few days, I followed up with legal documentation to the county and HOA board, ensuring there was no ambiguity about my rights. Word of Karen's attempt to list someone else's property illegally spread quickly through the neighborhood. It became clear that her pattern of overreach had consequences, and neighbors who had tolerated her previously now gave her wide berth. By the end of the week, my cabin was fully under my control, peaceful and secure. The lake, the dock, and the surrounding woods belonged entirely to my family. Karen never returned, and the HOA quietly accepted that my property was off-limits. That summer, I finally enjoyed uninterrupted mornings fishing from the dock, watching my daughter play by the water, and knowing that careful preparation, documentation, and calm assertion of rights had protected our lakeside retreat. Karen's failed attempts became a lesson in boundaries. Authority without legality means nothing, and overreach will always be exposed.